Hey there, today I'm so nostalgic for one of the most unusual pies that we have here in the South, and it's called a mincemeat pie. And I am so nostalgic for my grandmother's pie crust recipe and my mother's pear mincemeat recipe, and I'm going to put it all together, and it's just going to be delicious. And I hope that it will inspire you to make a pear mincemeat pie yourself. And I will share with you the recipe for the pear mincemeat and then the pie crust. And give it a try. It's something different because it's citrus. It has, the pear mincemeat has 10 pears, and we use 3 different varieties, and then 2 apples. We use the Honeycrisp apples, 1 navel orange, 1 lemon, and some of the rind of little strips, you know, from the orange and the lemon. And then you also, you cook that with a little sugar, and it softens it. And but it gives such a pungent citrus flavor, and then it also has raisins, and you can use golden raisins or regular raisins or both if you want. And anyway, it's a citrusy pie, and the crust is so delicious, and it's just a wonderful compliment. And it's just a couple of days before Christmas, and I'm hoping to share this pie with some of my family members and my mom, who's in memory care. Bring her some a piece of pie, and we'll share the rest with our family and friends. And I wish you a happy holidays, and I hope you enjoy this recipe. The first thing you're going to need is the white lily all-purpose flour, a little vinegar, an egg, some water, and Crisco. And I use this Reynolds Kitchen freezer paper for my working. I love these eggs, pasture raised, Vital Farms. It just makes me so happy to use them. We're just going to add a teaspoon of White House vinegar to the egg. I'm going to add 5 tablespoons of water. Today, I don't have a sifter here in my kitchen. So what I want to do is I want to use a whisk, and that's what I will use instead of a sifter. I just don't want it to stop me from making this beautiful pie crust today. And sometimes you just have. My mom taught me this years ago. I don't know if any of you do it the same way. I'm not a professional chef, but I just kind of go over it with my knife this way and then do one flat time over it and just kind of do like that to make sure it's shaken down. So I have my 3 cups of white lily all-purpose flour in my bowl, and now I need to add I'm using this Celtic sea salt, fine ground sea salt, and I already have some in this little white bowl, so I'm just going to, it's 1 teaspoon, that's what you need, and so I'm just going to put this, just sprinkle it into my 3 cups of flour. Now, this makes 3 pie crusts. If you want a more generous pie crust, and a lot of times this is for me, I just make 2, because on this mincemeat pie crust that we're going to be making, I'd like to put a little pie crust on the top. I'll show you. And so I'm going to just only have 2 pie crusts, and I'm going to use a little extra on the top. So for the 3 pie crusts, it calls for an entire cup of Crisco. So, but again, remember, that's for all 3 crusts. So I'm just going to open this up and put it in with my flour if I can. And there we go. Whoop, flour went everywhere. And then I'm going to cut the Crisco into the flour and the salt. And I'm going to use this pastry cutter, but if you don't have one, don't let that stop you from making this wonderful pie crust. You can use 2 knives and just crisscross the 2 knives together, almost like scissors. And then that, you can use that instead of a pastry cutter. And necessity is the mother of invention. Now with a pastry cutter, I just kind of just press it into the flour, and pick up the Crisco is also in there. So then I just turn my bowl, and what you want to do is just fully incorporate the Crisco into the flour, and it becomes what a lot of Southerners call meal. So it's just, you know, all blended together. And if you get a lot on here, then you can just take your finger and kind of get it off. You know, one of the things I love about making this video is I have a son who also loves his grandmother and great-grandmother's cooking, and his mother's cooking too. So this will help him, these little tricks and tips, if he would like to endeavor to make some of these nostalgic heirloom recipes. Now for this part, we're going to add our egg, vinegar, and water into our bowl. My hands are clean. You just want to, this is the way I do it. So you all may do it a different way. I don't know, maybe in a KitchenAid or something, but I'm just going to take it and squeeze it into the flour and Crisco until it's fully incorporated. Okay, so now this is what we have. I've worked the egg into and water and vinegar into the flour and Crisco, and now I'm going to make a place so that I can separate this dough into 2 pieces, and then we're going to put it into the refrigerator. So I'm going to use my freezer paper as a working surface for my dough, especially for after it comes out of the refrigerator, when I am rolling it out. And so you can find this at the grocery store, and they also sell you should get some Scotch tape. And a lot of times at our grocery stores in the South, they have this tape is right around where you get the paper itself. So you just, almost like an artist, you know, you just tape this down like it's a working surface for you. And the shiny side is up, the paper side is down, and that just helps, especially when you're rolling out the dough, it can get sticky. And we're not going to roll it out right now though. We're really just going to separate it. And today I'm just going to use, you know, just look at it and kind of tell, separating it into two pieces. But you can also use a scale, a digital scale, and actually get a perfect, you know, two pies. So just whatever you like to do. I just don't have my scale with me. So I'm going to try to just maybe just cut this big ball in half and see if I can make two that are about the same size. And I think that's pretty good. So I have flour on my plate here, on my Spode Christmas china plate, and it's left over from measuring out my 3 cups of flour. That's the extra. And I also, you know, I have my bag of white lily over here, but I'm gonna use this first, and we're gonna lay it down on top of our Reynolds freezer paper, shiny side up, and we're just going to sprinkle a little flour all over the surface where I'm going to be working. There we go. And keep it close by just in case we need. I sometimes use plastic wrap, but I'm going to use Reynolds Cut Right wax paper today because I'm going to quickly use this pie crust. It's not going to stay in for a day or so. So I don't have to use the plastic wrap. Just gonna fold it on the edges like that. Get one more. So I'll just put the wax paper on top of our pie dough, and I'm going to just use this little glass measuring cup because, like I said, I don't have my wooden one, and I would like to put a little bit of flour on top as well. So I'm going to sprinkle some on top of my pie dough. And I'm not a professional chef, I'm just a home cook. So there are probably other ways to do this. And of course, it's a lot easier with a big wooden rolling pin. But I'm just gonna start from the center and press out and just sort of start pressing around the edges to make a circle. It's just amazing how much bigger your pie crust can become as you work with it. And so mine's even coming off of the out of the width of the wax paper, so I'm going to move it slightly, and I'm still just starting from the middle and pushing down, pushing away to the sides, and then you know, you don't want to thin it out so much that it's not going to come up. But the other thing is it doesn't have to be a perfect circle, because as you'll see in a minute, you're just going to press your pie crust into the pan, and you can literally use your fingers to make the pie dough work. I'll show it. So now here's my pie dish that I'm going to use. You can buy these at the grocery store here in the South, and this isn't going to be perfect. You'll see I'm just going to try to roll this up gently, and there may be places where it's kind of stuck. I'm not going to worry about it. Yeah, just try to, you know, just know that it's all going to work out no matter what. And I've had a little stick on here, but I'm just continuing to sort of roll it, and it's going to be just fine. Now, I may use this wax paper to sit down my pie pan. Now I'm going to transfer this over. Now remember also, I'm wanting to save some of this dough to put a little on top. So the first thing, I'm going to unroll it here. I've got more on one side than the other, but that's okay. Kind of just move it over. And you can see how it's just, you know, it is a circle, but it's kind of broken in some places. It's thicker in some places. And the way that I handle that is I use my fingers and I press the dough over to the sides, and kind of you can feel whether it's even or not, especially in the bottom of the pie pan. And if it's thick, just keep pressing it out to the sides, because then as it goes to the side, you're going to take some of this excess off. Here, I'm going to pull some away right now. I'm going to sort of start a little stack of extra dough that I can use for the top, and any places where it feels too thin in the pan. So I'm going to just take some more of this off over here. And now, you know, I pressed my fingers all in the bottom. Now I'm going to press on the side, and it's going to sort of inch up the sides here. Okay, so I've pressed it around on the sides. Now I'm going to use a knife, and I'm just going to again cut away, kind of at the top, kind of cut away at the same place all around. This is all extra dough that I'm going to hopefully use on the top of the pie. This is how much dough I have left over to use on the top. So what I want to do now is I want to kind of see if I can push it up even more. It's amazing what this pie crust can do with the warmth of your... I'm pushing up, I'm seeing there's a place that's really thin here on the side, so I'm just going to take some dough and press into it to add a little bit more dough in that area. And my goal is to have a little ridge at the top. If there's some other places that feel thin, just pinch off a little dough and add to it. And I just want a little ridge at the top to work with. And you can start to see that you can push it away. This little ridge, you can kind of push it away here like that, and you know you've pushed it up enough. There may be some places that you see, and it's so easy just to add this dough. Push this up, it kind of rolls up. Okay, it's rolling up now. This part can be a challenge, and so just be nice to yourself, don't worry. But what I'm going to try to do is hold my thumb and then in place on the pie, and then push down with my pointer finger. Hold up and push down. And I'm going to try to do that all the way around. My mother used to do kind of a pinching, a way where she pinched it, but it just got confusing to me. And so, you know, you'll find what works best for you, but it just sort of makes this little wavy look at the top, makes it look a little nicer. And you hold your thumb and press down with your forefinger. And if some of the dough wants to sort of break apart, just touch it, and the warmth of your fingers just sort of repairs that dough. And look, I see another little place that needs some more dough. I'm just gonna put it in there so I can get that roll up a little taller. And there we are. I'm going on to my second pie crust. So I'm gonna dust this surface again. I took my pie dough out of the fridge. Put it right here. And I'm gonna put a little flour on top, just sprinkle it. Just kind of make sure the dough is, the flour. Using the same little glass measuring cup. And again, I'm just kind of pressing the dough out from the center out to the sides and then sort of rolling around to keep that round shape. And I'm just gonna work it till it gets out a little wider and thinner. I had to sprinkle some more flour on my dough because it was sort of sticking, I could tell. But it just keeps warming up and expanding, which is great. But at the beginning, you think, how in the world can I get a whole pie crust out of this? It just seems like it's small, but it will continue to expand. Just have patience. Okay, now is the time to remove the wax paper and to roll it up so that it can go in my second. So here's my second pie pan. Just going to take the crust, the dough that will become the crust, and roll it into the pan. So this one broke apart a lot as I was putting it in. It's very warm, and so I just kind of want you to see that it's all right. And what you're going to do again is just start with your fingertips pressing the pie dough into the pie pan, and just roughly take off some of this excess that's hanging over the sides, and keep pressing. And you kind of want to feel that it's got an even amount of dough in the bottom of the pan. Now I can see like this side, it doesn't have as much dough, so we'll have to make up for that in a moment with some of the excess. So the beauty of this is that you don't have to have a perfect pie crust the same as the first one. I can tell that this one has a little bit more of a thickness around its roll here at the top, but I'm okay with that. And I'm going to put my thumb down and press my index finger, thumb, press, and then, you know, if the dough tries to kind of blister apart, just repair it gently. It will do it. Thumb and press all around. While I'm finishing the pie crust, I just want to explain that the pear mincemeat is very citrusy. It's unlike any other pie I've ever tasted. My mother's recipe calls for 10 pears. We use 3 different varieties and 2 Honeycrisp apples, 1 orange and 1 lemon. And you actually use the orange and lemon rind in little strips for even a more pungent citrusy flavor. The thing is, once you cook these fruits down, they have more of a brown kind of a color, but do not let it fool you. There is such a beautiful citrusy taste to this pie, and you've got to experience it to know what I'm talking about. But anyway, I'm going to continue to put my thumb there and then press with my forefinger and then go around so that it has a cute little wave all around. And if there are any places where the dough has sort of blistered apart, just fix it. And there we are. Okay, so I have my dough rolled out, and I'm going to now make little strips. And I need to make an even amount because I want some on each pie. You could do this so many different ways. And some people do a basket weave with their dough, but I don't quite have enough dough for a basket weave, so just improvising. Now we're ready to take the dough for the top of the pie and make some little cutouts that'll go on the top. I've already also taken some of the dough and made little pears. I'll show them to you in a minute. Just rolled out a little dough that looks, and then made a shape on it like a pear. And that way we can put that on top and people will hopefully know what it is that they're about to eat. A beautiful pear mincemeat. We're ready now to put the mincemeat into the pie, and I forgot to tell you about the pear mincemeat. You want to add pecans, and I like to buy these. They're Glenwood's Pecans for Autism. It comes around every year, the holidays here in the South. And it's a big bucket of pecans, and they're delicious. So here we have 1 cup of pecans, and I like to, I really cut 1 pecan at a time because I just want them to be uniform in the pie. And there's all of the pecans that I get from the Glenwoods. Okay, so now that's 1 cup. I need to get another cup for my second pie. So now we're ready to put the pie together. Now this is the 2 cups of pear mincemeat. This has 10 pears, 3 different varieties, 2 Honeycrisp apples, 1 navel orange, 1 lemon, and it also has raisins in here. And so now we're going to add a 1/4 cup of brown sugar, 1 tablespoon of flour, and a 1/2 cup of pecans, and 2 cups of the pear mincemeat. And that's what will be the consistency of the mincemeat. Again, this is 2 cups. The raisins are plump. And this whole thing has a wonderful fragrance. Nutmeg, allspice, cinnamon. Wonderful flavors and aromas. Here's my 1/2 cup of chopped pecans. We're going to mix this all together. And you could preheat your oven. It's going to bake at 375 for 30 to 40 minutes. Okay, I blended this together and it's ready to go into the pie crust. Even use a spatula to get all of that out. Now you can see how high my crust is from the pie filling. And this is something that my grandmother used to do. And she would sort of fold the edges over the filling. So what I'm going to do now is just gently take it and kind of fold it down. I want to push down. It's very thin on the edges, so I just put a little lattice work on there. And now I'm going to try to add my little pear job than I could on these little pear cutouts. But there's my effort, and I'm going to do the same thing for the second pie and stick them in the oven for 30 to 40 minutes on 375. My second pie, I think I did a little bit better on the pear this time. So I'm going to put this in the oven for 30 to 40 minutes on 375. Okay, so here they are, the two pies. This one was a little thinner, the pie, and so it didn't perform as well on the sides. It's still going to taste amazing. This one is a little thicker, and it did so nicely. So I'm very pleased with this, and I hope you are too. I hope you'll give it a try. This pie is just delicious. I wish you could smell how wonderful it smells in here, especially because it has fresh ground nutmeg, allspice, cinnamon. It's just, and then the citrus, you know, you can smell. Especially the lemon comes through, and the orange, the pears, and the raisins. It's delicious. And the pecans, so delicious. The crust is out of this world. A wonderful light crust makes any pie. I hope you'll try it. It's just delicious. This has been so fun making these pear mincemeat pies with you guys, and I hope you will take some time over the holiday season and make pear mincemeat pies yourself. Now make sure you keep a lookout, because I'm going to also do some other goodies like a southern pecan pie, and there's only one way to make a southern pecan pie, and that is with Golden Eagle syrup, which is made in Fayette County, Alabama. So stay tuned and look for that, okay? Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holiday. Enjoy your family.